Q2W7, and I'm using the answer key that I made last year, but like I said, there's a lot of things I decided I wanna up and make it a little bit easier. We started with 12 is greater than or equal to 9 times the quantity, Z plus the number 2. What I started telling you guys to do this year is draw that line, because it's it's basically a magical line. Once you cross it, you're doing the opposite. Then we have the quantity of 9 times this. So this means you need to do the distributive property. So 9 times Z is 9Z. And then 9 times 2 is 18. So now I have 12 is greater than or equal to 9Z plus 18. Box up your 9Z, so you say, stay, hold on, you're not moving, I'm going to move what's next to you. If it's addition, I'm going to do subtraction, or you're adding the additive inverse, so I'm adding a negative 18 to both sides. We have a negative 18 and a positive 12. So a negative and a positive you subtract, so 18 minus 12 is 6. Keep the sign of the bigger number, so it's a negative 6. Box up your Z. I'm going to divide, I should have showed that canceled each other out. Divide by 9, so that cancels each other out. So then I have a negative 6/9, which reduces down to a negative 2/3 is greater than or equal to Z. Then I've told you I want you to rewrite it. Z is less than or equal to a negative 2/3. Number 2, you're
Wait.
supposed. Yes.
So for number 1, is it okay if I change that to a decimal?
Yeah. 0.66. Yep. Number 2, write an inequality that represents the graph below. We have X, and the arrow's pointing to the left, so it's going to be less than. It's filled in, so it's also going to be equal to, and it's on the number 0. Tim earns $150 per week plus $15.50 for each desk he assembles. Write an inequality to represent how many desks he needs to assemble to make $400 in 1 week. So I start with my $150 plus, so it's plus $15.50, so it's $15.50, and it says each. When I say each, that means I multiply, so it'd be $15.50 times X, and I want to make that or more, so it's going to be greater than or equal to $400. Number 3. 4. In the diagram to the left, how long does it take to paint 1 square foot? Okay, I have from yesterday, it was 6.4 feet squared per minute. So I'm going to rewrite that up and down. 6.4 feet squared per 1 minute. Now I want to change this to equal 1 foot squared. So what I really have to do, it's not going to be in minutes anymore, is it?
No.
No, I have to actually change my minutes to seconds. So now I'm going to have 6.4 feet squared in, now how many seconds are in a minute?
60.
So it'd be 60 seconds. Equals 1 foot squared over X. Then we solve this with cross multiplication like we have been doing. So then I have 60 equals 6.4x. And then we know how to solve with an equation, so we divide by 6.4 on both sides. I'm going to put this into my calculator. Once I put it in my calculator, x equals 9.375 seconds. Number 5 says, what is the cost of 1 gallon of gas? So it'd be, I want to set it up as a ratio, so it's cost per over what? Gallon. So that's really my y over x. So then I need to come and find a point that crosses at exactly between the two axes. And this is a 2 on the x, so the 2 is on the bottom. The y goes up to a, that's actually a 5, because it counts by 5s if you look at it. Well, it's hard to tell that first letter number, but look at the next one, that's an easy 10, 15, 20.
Yeah.
Okay, so sometimes you gotta look back, up at the few numbers. So now I have 5 over 2, so that's just saying like 5 divided by 2, which is $2.50 per gallon. John makes $78 in 12 hours. Remember, if we're gonna do this, I'm gonna write it over here and then I'll show you my other way that I did it. We're gonna write that as a ratio. It's always cost per whatever, so it's gonna be dollars per what? Hour. Thank you. So if I have dollars per hour, I'm gonna fill it in. I have $78 in 12 hours. Now it says how much would John make in 20 hours? So my 20 is going to be also with my hours, and my x is here. So how do I solve? Cross multiplication. So 78 times 20 equals 12 times x. 78 times 20 is 1,560 equals 12x. To get x alone, I divide by 12, and I put that into my calculator, and I get 130 equals x. Another way you could find it is by finding the unit rate, so that's what I did here first. I did $78 because it was cost per gallon, and it was 78 over 12. So I took 78 divided by 12, which I got $6.50 per hour.
That's what
Because I'm working 20 hours, I take $6.50 times 20, and you get the same answer. Either way is fine. Number 7, we're talking about slope. Every day we're gonna write the formula for slope, and I didn't write it on here. The formula for slope is y, 2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. And when they give you the points, the first one is always our number 1s, the second one is always our number 2s. So then I put it in the formula. Y1 is 20, minus y2 is 10. X2 is 4, minus x1 is 2. 20 minus 10 is 10, 4 minus 2 is 2. Then I have 10 divided by 2, which is 5, or I can just say it's 5 over 1. So that means it goes up 5, right 1. Mm-hmm. But what? You left that 10 over 2? And then the last one gives me my points, 0, comma y, and 2, comma negative 2. So then we put it into our formula. And then they said it has to equal 3 over 2. So I have y2, which is negative 2, minus y1, which is just y, over x2, which is 2, minus x1, which is 0. Now, 2 minus 0 is 2, so that's pretty easy. How can I find what my y equals? what I'm going to do is I'm gonna put a box around it, and I'm gonna come over here and solve it like I do equations. A minus 2 minus y equals 3. Draw my line, box up my negative y. Add 2 to both sides. Left with a negative y equals 5. I can't leave this as a negative y. It's kind of like a negative 1y. So how do I get rid of the negative 1? Divide by negative 1. Divide by negative 1. So y actually equals a negative 5. Because 5 divided by a negative 1 is a negative 5. And then I'll put it into the problem. We said a negative 5, so we got a negative 2 minus a negative 5. Keep, change, change. 5 minus 2 is 3. So y has to equal the negative 5.